So the White House sends out a warning that says Americans should reconsider travel to mainland China, a U.S. travel advisory. Meanwhile, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen will travel to China this week. Yeah, I know. You literally can't make this stuff up. So don't travel to China, but Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen will travel to China. This comes just after Secretary of State Anthony Blinken traveled to China, which they tried to go and smooth things over. But then President Biden opened his mouth and called the Chinese President Xi a dictator, potentially ruining everything that they sent the Secretary of State over there to do, and angered China even more. So now they issue this travel warning saying don't go to China. And now they're going to send little old Janet Yellen over there with an angry China. Yeah, here, take a listen.
We've been hearing about this potential visit. There's finally some confirmation. What are we expecting?
Well, now we have a date, obviously, from 6th to the 9th, so later this week and perhaps over the weekend. So we'll have all the news and wrap on Monday to get the perspective on Janet Yellen. It's important because this is the second major secretary from the Biden administration. We had Anthony Blinken go 3 weeks ago to Beijing, and now we have Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary. And no matter what they talk about, it is positive that the two sides are at least showing a willingness, acceptance to sit down and hash out their differences. And boy, are the differences mounting, obviously. And it was Janet Yellen who has been talking a lot about de-risking from the China supply chain. She's talked about friendshoring and moving some supply chain, resilience to other nations, including Japan. In fact, in April, Janet Yellen had a quite sharply worded speech where she did again reaffirm that they are not trying to decouple from China, but did admit that the United States might have to accept some sort of economic costs by sort of de-risking from the China, supply chain. So again, this will be a critical meeting as well because she's going to be meeting the new leadership team. Let's hear what Janet Yellen had to say ahead of her trip in this soundbite from MSNBC.
We really welcome and want to have a healthy economic relationship, and we think it's generally beneficial. We have disagreements. My hope in traveling to China is to reestablish contact. There are a new group of leaders. We need to get to know one another.
Yeah, so we may have to accept an economic cost. Yeah, the United States, we may have to. Yeah, and this comes as the Pentagon is saying that the Chinese spy balloon did not transmit data, as the Chinese sent that spy balloon over the entire United States to spy on us. But we're going to have to accept an economic cost. Yeah, so, they're sending spy balloons over our entire country, but we're going to have to accept an economic cost, to become friends again with China. Yeah. This also comes here as Russian warships have been spotted near Taiwan. Now, remember here, we've had both Russia and China saying that they're major friends, they're partners. And we've also had China saying that Taiwan is part of the one China policy, that Taiwan is China's, similar to how, Russia's, trying to take over Ukraine. They've already claimed Crimea. Is China going to try to take over Taiwan? Is Russia going to help them? We've already seen China be angered by the US just for being in the area of the Taiwan Strait. Is this the next step of escalation? We've already had major US generals and US, analysts say that they do expect a Chinese war between China and Taiwan within the next few years. And this is a major, major problem for the United States because we have the U.S. Taiwan Relations Act, which basically binds us to Taiwan. This was passed by Congress. And then we've also had President Biden, who has said multiple times on television, who says we would put U.S. boots on the ground in an act of war to defend Taiwan. So we have a kind of conundrum here in multiple different ways because of Taiwan. We also have, China involved with this and possibly Russia involved with this. And we have a major, major issue here that with countries that are worlds and worlds away. Yeah, so this is why the Ukraine war is very, very important. And a lot of people are watching this, people like China and other countries, because what happens in Ukraine is going to be very important for China because the world is watching. If Russia was just there and if they were able to just steamroll, kind of actually what they were able to do with Crimea, it sends a message to the rest of the world for dictators like China that they can just take over other countries, smaller countries that they're much, much larger than. They can just literally go and just take over land. They can literally just take them. It's kind of interesting here. And, honestly, this is probably what Russia thought they were going to do with Ukraine. This is what they did with Crimea in 2014. The world probably made a major mistake with that. The problem is it kind of happened pretty quickly, probably too quickly for the rest of the world to respond. And, maybe that was the problem. And Russia probably thought they were just going to get away with it again with Ukraine. The problem with Ukraine is that, they had 45 million people and they fought back. Crimea was too small to fight back. It was a subsection of Ukraine. And here we are almost a year and a half later. And, the Battle of Bakhmut is 10% of the way into Ukraine. It took them 224 days for them to, capture that one city. And they lost it even after that, according to the Wagner Group boss, so Prigozhin. So here's the problem is that we're a year and a half in, Putin probably thought he was going to take over Ukraine without a fight. And we're a year and a half in, and things really aren't going well for Russia. If they're still fighting battles 10% of the way into Ukraine, I just, of course you get people that think that Russia's going to win the war and stuff, but you can let me know your thoughts here in the comments.
Hi.
All right, somebody wanted to come say hi.
Hi. Hi.
He's too fluffy for you. This is Snowy, and this is baby Julian. You're no longer a baby.
No, in fact, but Snow is a baby. He's 0.
He's like a big white fluffy polar bear.
Yeah, I can go outside.
You're gonna go outside?
Yes.
You are?
Yes.
What about this big fluffy polar bear?
That's a cat, and he's just fluffing next to
He's just fluffing it around? All right, you have fun.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
And look at my sunset.
All right, so let me know your thoughts here in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to subscribe down below. Click here to see how the Fed wants to control all the money that there is. Or click here to see an urgent warning sent out by the White House. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.